Hi, this is James Lee. Welcome back to Introduction to Python. Let's talk about dictionaries. This is another data type that we'll add on to our collection of data types for Python. We'll talk about what is a dictionary. We'll talk about creating and indexing into dictionaries. We'll process some dictionaries, and we'll start with a definition. So the next data type is what's known as a dictionary. So in some languages like Perl, we call these data types associative arrays, or also known as hashes. But in Python we call them dictionaries. Here's what its features include. It's accessed by a string. So if we think about lists and tuples, we index into them with like a number, 0 or 1. But with dictionaries we're going to index with a string, like name or age. It's unordered, so we never really assume order when it comes to dictionaries. How they're stored in memory is not important. What's important is that if we have a key, we can get the value out of the dictionary. A dictionary, like a list, is variable length. That means we can add items to the dictionary or remove items from the dictionary. It's heterogeneous, like lists and tuples. That means we can collect multiple different types of things together, numbers and strings and so on. And it's arbitrarily nestable. That means we can have dictionaries of lists and so on. And it is mutable. Like lists, we can change dictionaries after they're created. So lists have one major drawback. So let's think back. We talked about lists in a previous module. And lists were great because we were able to collect together multiple pieces of information. However, let's look at this list. Here we have this record, which is a number, comma, string, comma, number, comma, string. And I look at this list and I think to myself, I can't really determine meaning from the list. And I know what the meaning of Joe is. Joe is probably a person's name, although could be something else. And then 39, that's a number. I'm not really sure what that represents. This string over here, Pink Floyd, I know what that is. That's a rock band, but the only reason I know that is because I know something about pop culture. So the only real information I have about this list is that there's two numbers and two strings. I really don't understand what the meaning of them is. So the limitation of lists is we don't know the meaning of the data within the list. So it creates a list like this. So index 0 is 5743 and so on. So just by the nature of the index, I don't understand the meaning of the data. So enter dictionaries. So the problem is the index doesn't give me any information about the data. And if we could index with a string instead of a number, the string would give us information about the data, thereby making the data more understandable to us. So enter a dictionary. So here's a pictorial representation of a dictionary. So wouldn't it be nice, instead of indexing with a 0, index with record num. Record num, I know what that means. This is the record number, 5743. And then index name, I know exactly what that's a person's name, Joe. Age, I bet that's the age of the person, Joe. Joe's 39. And then Joe's favorite band, Pink Floyd. So what this is showing, that if I can index with a string instead of a number, that string gives me information about the data stored within. That's the purpose of a dictionary. So how do we create dictionaries? Let's think back. To create a list, we use square brackets. To create a tuple, we use parentheses. To create a dictionary, we'll use curly braces. So here's an example. We say record equals, and then open curly through close curly. So the open curly through close curly surrounds the assignments of the keys and the values. So the keys of the index strings, like record num, name, and age. The value is the value associated with that string. So we have string record number, colon, value, comma, string name, colon, Joe, comma, string age, colon, 39, comma, string favorite band, colon, Pink Floyd. And that's how we assign the dictionary. Now notice when we take the dictionary's value, the curly braces denote it's a dictionary. And if you'll notice, the order is different. When we created it, the order was record num, name, age, band. Here it's record num, age, favorite band, name. So this illustrates a very important point with dictionaries. We never assume their order. So when they're actually created and stored in memory, they're created and put in memory based on how the names or the keys hash relative to one another. That's like a mathematical operation. So we can never really predict the order. But the point is we don't really care about the order, because if we have a key, we can get the value. So we don't ever expect an order. All right, so let's index into a dictionary. How do we do that? Same thing with a list and a tuple, except instead of a number, we use a string. So let's create the dictionary foods. Foods has 3 pairs. We have breakfast, eggs. Key lunch, value sandwich. Key dinner, value pizza. So when I look at foods, I see lunch is sandwich, breakfast, eggs, dinner, pizza. Once again, the order is not expected, as the same as we created it, and we don't expect it to be. So to access an element, we take the dictionary's name, square brackets around the key, and then the key string. In this case, breakfast. So food sub breakfast, eggs. This prints I'm hungry, let's go get some, and then we index food sub dinner, pizza. So variables can be used as an index. So let's create the same dictionary for foods. Assign meal lunch and then index with meal. So when we index with meal, it's as if we index with the literal lunch. We get sandwich. So I can index into a dictionary with a string or with a variable that contains a string, and we just put them within the square brackets. We can modify elements in a dictionary, which will actually modify the dictionary itself. So let's create our familiar foods dictionary. Breakfast is eggs, lunch sandwich, dinner pizza. Show its content. And then we're going to say, let's change our breakfast choice. Let's change the breakfast to pancakes. So this is assigning to key breakfast the value pancakes. When we look at foods again, notice that breakfast changed from eggs up here to pancakes. So remember that dictionaries are mutable. That means we can change them. So the question is, how do we add to a dictionary? Very simple. Assign to a key that does not yet exist. So here's foods, our breakfast, lunch, dinner example. So we show foods. Now what I want to do is I want to add a key value pair to foods. We're going to call it snack cookie. So I simply assign to a new key snack the value cookie, show the dictionary, and here's the snack and cookie added to our dictionary. So if I want to grab the value out of the dictionary for snack, I would say foods sub snack, out comes cookie. So to add an element to a dictionary is simple. Assign to a key that does not yet exist. If we remove from a dictionary, use the del statement. So here's rhymes. 1 is rhymes with fun, 2 with foo, 3 with free, and 4 with more. And we show our rhymes dictionary. We see all 4 items. Now I'm going to delete rhyme sub 3. So now when I look at rhymes, I see the element for 3, free, is gone. So to add elements to a dictionary, assign to a key that doesn't exist. To remove them, del. So let's look at an example of a dictionary. This will be in the file dict1.py. Here what we'll do is we'll create a dictionary called ALC Teams. ALC Teams, that's for American League Central Teams. And that happens to be a division in the American League of the Major League Baseball. But anyway, it shows the cities, Chicago, Kansas City, Cleveland, and so on, and then the teams for that city. So the team in Chicago is the White Sox, the team in Kansas City is the Royals, etc. So then what we'll do first, it will just show how to grab Chicago's team. So I'm going to print a string, and the string I'm printing is right here, ALC Teams sub Chicago. So I'm indexing with the name of the city, Chicago, and this should return back to me the team in Chicago, which is, sure enough, the White Sox. Then I'm going to go into this for loop here. Now this for loop is going to loop through a certain number of cities. Which cities? Chicago, Detroit, and Cleveland. Why are they in that order, and why is it those cities? Because that's the cities we want in the order we want. There you go. So I'm going to take city through those cities. This prints the team in, and then the city name is, and then I'll index with the city name to get the team name. So notice the team in Chicago is the White Sox, team in Detroit is the Tigers, team in Cleveland is the Indians. Also notice that I can index into a dictionary with a string literal, like here Chicago, or a variable, here city. What happens if I try to index into a dictionary with a key that doesn't exist? So it's going to generate an error. So here I create ages. Ryan is 15, Chris is 12, Maddie is 9. And I'm going to say ages sub Joe. Now Joe is not a key in my dictionary, so you know what happens? I get a runtime error. And this is the key error saying that Joe doesn't exist in my dictionary. So accessing an element with a key that doesn't exist gives me this runtime error. We're going to see how to avoid this later. The len function returns a number of pairs. So if I say ages is Ryan 15, Chris 12, Maddie 9, and I do a length of ages, this returns 3. So there's 3 items in that dictionary. Thanks for your time for this module, and I'll see you in the next module.